how can you build a career full of longevity and purpose if you constantly have an audience that keeps coming and going? So I'm going to be talking to you today about something called the creative ecosystem. And since I started applying this concept, it's absolutely changed my life. And I want to share it with you guys. But make sure you stay to the end of the video, because I'm going to show you my exact framework of how I apply this concept to my creative life. It's mega. So if you've never heard of this concept of the creative ecosystem, I'm going to explain it to you what I think of it and what's my take on it. Now, everybody has a creative ecosystem. If you're a creative, whatever you do, we all have one. But once you do become fully aware of it, it changes your life, the way you see every piece of content you put out, every bit of work you do. Once you start to see it all connected, and it's kind of like a pressure is just taken off your shoulders, because a lot of creators, they get too hung up on the metrics, they get too hung up on individual pieces of content they put out, and this is when you get burnt out and you fizzle away. So the creative ecosystem, essentially, I see it has two parts. So the first part is being your foundations, your habits, your routines, the stuff you do every day that allow you to perform at your highest level creatively. And then the second part is the wider overall ecosystem, which is all the stuff your creative brain produces within your creative business. So this could be your client work, your conceptual work, your marketing, everything you do within your business. And once you start to see all this as one connected ecosystem rather than singular components that you just work on every day, once you start to see this as a connected system, it just makes sense. So let me explain a bit further here. So your foundations are your things you do every day. Now, these are small things. So for me, it's getting up at the same time every morning, going for a run, reading, having a tidy home, eating healthily. All these things allow me to perform at my peak level of creativity. It's all the stuff I fuel my brain with that allows me to perform at that peak level. Now, at that peak level of creativity, I do my best work, I do my best content, I do my best everything. Makes sense, right? So without those foundations, if I take away my morning run, if I take away my hour of reading at night, if I take away my healthy breakfast, my creativity will suffer, and then that'll affect the rest of the ecosystem. So we've got to make sure our foundations are always hit every morning, every day, to allow us to perform at that peak level of creativity. Now, when it comes to the work you do, so this could be your client work, like I said, piece of content you put out to market yourself. Instead of seeing these things as individual tasks that you just tick off your to-do list every day, you see them as connected. Everything you do is connected. So you spend 2 hours on a logo design, you might not get a result, but that 2 hours doing it connects to the overall process of you doing that logo. So don't get yourself bummed out that you don't come up with the logo design straight away. Secondly is your content. Say you put out a reel. One, it performs exceptionally well. Naturally, as creators, we get highs off that, we get highs off the metrics. This is how social media works, and it feels good, right? Of course it does. But when a piece of content goes viral, goes well, it's because it's targeting a wider audience. Now, when you target a wider audience, you're typically targeting nobody. So this is why it's dangerous, because when you then release another piece of content that means so much to you, and it flops, and doesn't get as many comments, doesn't get as many likes, you don't get as many follows, you see that as it's a bad piece of content or nobody cares about it. Well, this is where the creative ecosystem really comes in handy, because one, that piece of content you put out, you fully believed in the message of it. It was true to you. That was your authentic self for putting that piece of content out. And just because it didn't do well, it didn't appeal to the wider audience, it still appealed to an audience. And that audience that it appealed to, it could have been one person that viewed that reel, followed you, sent you a DM, they become part of your tribe then. But this is how we've got to start seeing personal branding. I'm a huge advocate of personal branding. However, I feel like the word personal branding has become very treaded on in the last couple of years. People think that a personal brand is you're just showing up with your face, your studios under your name, you occasionally pop on your story to say hello, and you just release all your work through it. Now, I think that's what a lot of people have just think a personal brand is, because you see everyone say, start a personal brand, this is the way to go, yada yada. but nobody tells you exactly what it is. Now, get rid of the word brand and just think personal. A personal brand is just your online persona. That's all it is. It's nothing more, it's nothing less. It's you online, your thoughts, your feelings, your values, exactly what you want to share with the world. That's what it is. Now, people seem to dilute themselves when it comes to creating content. They'll bend their values around algorithms. They'll bend the message. They'll change words to become more accommodating to the wider audience. And like I was saying, this is when you sort of liquefy yourself, and you sort of liquefy your own personality, and it makes it harder and harder and harder to become your authentic self online if you're constantly adapting to trends, to algorithms, to what other people want. And this is where creatives come, they burn out and they fizzle away and they don't come back. Now, this is why having your creative ecosystem in place is absolutely essential for longevity, because as long as the stuff you put out has meaning to you and purpose, then it's worth putting out. And this is why we start to see as pieces of content as connected pieces, as stepping stones. So I might put a piece of content out on logo design, and it usually does exceptionally well because it's appealing to a wider audience. But like this piece of content I'm making now is something I truly, firmly believe in. And this piece of content won't do anywhere near as well as this because it's not appealing to the wider audience. But I know whoever is watching this and is understanding what I'm saying is thinking, yeah, things are ticking, you're my tribe. And that means a lot to me because this is what, I truly believe this is my purpose, is teaching people about this and applying it to my own life. So I don't mind if this piece of content doesn't do anywhere near as well as this piece of content. I see these as connected because any audience from here comes over here and enjoys this piece of content. They're my true tribe, you know. And I'm not isolating people out here because this is what I do. I'm a logo designer, brand designer, but it's all connected, you know. So like I put a video out there a couple of weeks ago, which was about designers, are we more than just our work? Because this is something I think about every single day, and I just had to share it. And it didn't do anywhere near as well, but I didn't mind because it got about 5 comments that truly meant, like, I could see people have resonated with the message. So once you start to see your ecosystem all thriving and it's all connected and it's all moving together, you don't get hung up on the metrics, because you've got to remember metrics are completely surface level. Likes, follows, engagement on every piece of content. You can't expect every piece of content to do exceptionally well unless you find a piece of content that does so well and you're like, right, I just need to keep doing that. We've all done it. I've done it, like where I've had one YouTube video blow up and I'm like, right, that's just what I need to keep doing from now on. But the issue with that is you're just targeting a wider audience. Like I said before, when you target a wider audience, you're not really targeting anyone at all. And the people that follow you from a viral piece of content typically don't seem to stick around, and they're not that invested in you. So how can you build a career full of longevity and purpose if you constantly have an audience that keeps coming and going? And it's a metaphor for yourself as well. If you keep creating content that appeals to the wider audience and it might not fully align with you've got so much more to share, but you keep doing just one piece of content because you know it works for the algorithm, you keep coming in and out of your own life as well. And this is where you end up getting burnt out, feeling creatively unfulfilled. And yeah, that's how you kill a creative career. And like I say to you, I've suffered with it myself. I managed to start landing clients and catapulted myself in this world very quickly from just churning out trendy content and things like that. And now I got to a point where I was like, right, I need to figure this out because I'm feeling so unfulfilled. I felt burnt out, and this is where I found this, what I'm talking about, and it means so much to me. So I'll continue talking about this because I know how powerful it is. And yeah. Just a random digger parked here, but absolutely love that logo. Just the type treatment. I just love that style. This is why I love typography. It just, I don't know, there's something about it that just makes you feel a certain way. Kind of looks like a tech company, but yeah, sick. I don't know, as a designer, I mean, we all do this. Everything we look at, every piece of type, layout, logo, just always see it and just think, that's sick, or, you know, constantly analysing everything. Everything around us is designed, like literally everything. Nature's designed, our lives are designed, and it's us. We design our lives. Don't let anybody else design them for you. Don't let the algorithm design your life for you. You design your own life, and that's how we live. good life. So I'm going to show you now my creative ecosystem, and you can see it on canvas and you can see what I mean by it, so you can visually see it, So as you can see here on the left, I have my foundations, which is running, reading, practicing routine, 8 hours of sleep, healthy diet, journaling, practicing discipline, and a tidy home. Now I've given a breakdown of each of them because it links into why I do what I do. So all of these core foundations, without these, I wouldn't be doing these to the best of my ability. So that's my foundation. And then this leads me to By Frankie Harry, which is me, my online persona. And what I share is things like, I share what I learn on my journey to help other creatives. I make creatives aware of certain systems and strategies, sharing my story, which aims to help other creatives, and so on and so on. And then I've put in, how does this make me feel? Well, it allows me to uncover deeper understandings of myself. It makes me feel good when someone resonates with something I share. It trains me to think more. I have a deep understanding of life and I have to get it out of me. And seeing others benefit from my learnings and story give me great fulfillment. And I go into how does this side of the my creative ecosystem make me feel? And then I go into the content I make, which is Instagram. Why do I make this Instagram content? My YouTube content. Why do I make this YouTube content? And my newsletter. And then my foundations also lead me to Highful Minds, which is something I've not launched yet, but Highful Minds is going to be my new creative agency where all of my work falls under. And there's a reason why I'm splitting up my online persona from my work, because and I'm sharing here through Highful Minds, which is work with clients. It's an experimental creative outlet. It allows me to collaborate with others. It's a place to build a brand separate from my name. And how does it make me feel? It makes me want to be more experimental with my work and creativity, as it's not directly my name. It makes me want to create something extraordinary without the pressure of, look what I did. It all falls under a separate brand. Now, all of this together gives me pure joy and fulfillment. This is my creative ecosystem. All of this is connected. And if you take anything from this ecosystem and isolate it on its own, it becomes obsolete. Same way if I focus on the metrics from just one of these things, for example, one reel, it's completely meaningless because those metrics only contribute to that one thing, not the overall ecosystem. And each component is a stepping stone to make the whole system better. All the pieces of content are connected, and all of this equals overall fulfillment and purpose from what I do. So I'll just show you my Miro board now so you can sort of visually see that even more. So as you can see, this is the core foundations of what I do. So it's my running, my reading, my healthy eating, and all these things lead me to do my conceptual work, they lead me to do my client work, and they lead me to do my content. So have a look here. So when I do my conceptual work, I'm doing this because it betters my skills and creative exploration, which ends up leading to creative fulfillment. All of this leads to my client work, which is going to fall under Highful Minds. And why do I set up Highful Minds? Because it allows me to work with amazing clients. It allows me to work with other amazing creatives, which ends up giving me creative fulfillment. And then client inquiries come through to Highful Minds, and client inquiries allow me to monetize my work. Now, how do I get client inquiries? Well, this is where my content comes in. Without all this, I wouldn't be doing my content to the best of my ability. So I create content like this, which is struggling to post reel content, project proposal reel, mood boarding reel, brand style guide reel, logo design presentation reel, what attracts clients reel. So this is like the core of my work. This is like my work, creating reels on my work, my design, brand design. And these types of content attract client inquiries, but they also help other designers, which leads to personal fulfillment. And these types of content lead people to my template store, and having my template store allows me to help other creatives, which leads to personal fulfillment, but also allows me to monetize my work too. Now these type of contents do correlate with this type of content I make as well. So this is my more holistic content, my strategies, systems, like the video I'm making now. So for example, this one piece of content I made, Designers Are We More Than Just Our Work, that led me to create on a newsletter on personal branding, which allowed me to create a reel, which is about the creative ecosystem. And then I've expanded on that reel to make this video now, which is the creative ecosystem YouTube video. And this video will allow me in the future to make, because I've got future plans of making a community to talk about creating a thriving creative career, which allows personal fulfillment from helping others. And also this sort of leads from my client work, because if I didn't have any client work, I wouldn't really be able to do this because I'd have no social proof. So you can see how everything connects. And now my overall YouTube videos, like the ones I make, the very vloggy style, life of a designer YouTube videos, the reason I can make them is because all these connect, so I can make these. And the reason I make these videos is to helping creatives find answers to their problems, which again, gives me major personal fulfillment. And the reason I make the videos on personal branding, the creative ecosystem, because it allows me to vent my thoughts and again, leads to personal fulfillment. So you can see how it all connects. And like, for example, that talk I did for the Designer Boss, the newsletter on personal branding, for example, led me to talking about this and what attracts clients real, and led me to do a summit talk on this, which again, personal fulfillment from helping others. So you can see how all the whole ecosystem connects. Now, I've just given a snapshot of some of the content I make, but you can see how it all connects. And all of this leads me to living a career of longevity and purpose. Because if you notice all the green slides, everything I do leads to either creative fulfillment or personal fulfillment, which will allow you to live a purposeful career. So I hope you can visually see what I mean now and see it as a system. And I hope you can apply this to your own career, because honestly, it's changed the game for me. So hopefully you can take something away from what I've shown you, my exact creative ecosystem, and how you can apply that to your own creative business and your own creative life. It's important to just remember that we're not just doing this for social media. We're not just doing this for our online audience. We're doing it for ourselves. Why did we start this in the first place? We started this because we're creatives. We love creating stuff, and try and not attach metrics or monetary value to these things, because once you do that, it's a dangerous game, because you won't create for fun or create for love or for passion. You'll just be creating for, will this piece of content get this many views? I'll just design a logo because I'm getting paid for it. That's dangerous. And we all fall into that system. And but having a creative ecosystem like this mapped out stops you from falling into those ways of thinking. So yeah, super valuable stuff. And once you get your head around this and really start to apply it, big things happen, man. Big things change, and you're in it for the long run. You know, this isn't a get rich quick in and out job. Do you know what I mean? As creatives, this is who we are as people, for the entirety of our lives. So we've got to really look after it, nurture it, with our foundations, with our whole work life. You know. If you want to hear more about this, sign up to my newsletter. I send out a newsletter every sort of 2 weeks talking about these topics. And then if I get good feedback or it's something I want to expand on further, I'll be talking about it here on YouTube. So yeah, thank you very much if anyone watched to the end of this video. If you have watched to the end of this video, comment journey, and I'll know you got to the end, and I know who's engaged in this type of content. So yeah, I'm going to leave it here, guys, and like I say, I hope you can take something away from it, and I really appreciate you being here, and I'll see you next week.